There have been many DBD creators who have regurgitated the whole behavior bad philosophy and talked about how they could do so much better while being unemployed with zero self-awareness. But as obnoxious as these crackers are, their criticisms don't come without merit. It seems like for most modern live service PvP games, it doesn't really matter what the developers do, the community will hate them and talk about how much they hate the game, despite streaming their game 8 hours a day and only being known because of their game. They'll continue to cry about it while contributing nothing to society. But this video isn't about that. Behavior's devs are an interesting case where, yeah, they are pretty fucking bad. The game has been in, let's say, a rut for the past few months, with underwhelming releases, tons of bugs, recycled events, and not a single balance change for 6 months. Like, actually zero meaningful changes are being made. And do you wonder why that is? I mean, surely they've heard our cries, and they did just release an actually pretty good chapter. Maybe 2026 will be the year to get back on track. Well, as optimistic as that is, I kinda think the game is doomed to stay like this in this limbo until we get a new dev team. And if you've seen their streams, you probably know where I'm going with this. Diversity hiring is the intentional practice of recruiting and hiring candidates from a wide range of backgrounds to create a more equitable, inclusive, and representative workforce. In other words, hiring people based on what they look like rather than their skills. Wait, isn't that called racism? Yeah, so if you haven't noticed, other actual competent game dev studios have frat boy douchebag devs who look like this, but do get work done. Well, we have devs that look like this and do nothing for 6 months. And where's my proof in all this? I mean, besides all the pandering, the forced diversity, the incredibly embarrassing live streams, and the virtue signaling, I mean, what is my proof that behavior is primarily made up of DEI hires, and that all of this comes from hiring based on diversity, which is already a massive problem in Canada. I mean, Behavior is the largest independent gaming company in Canada, a country that's actively been eaten from the inside out by the massive floods of shitskins and sandaggers they let in simply for the sake of diversity, not because they contribute anything. So what if they're Canadian? That's just anecdotal evidence. Well, let me introduce you to the Wheel of Privledge, a forgotten relic of Behavior's past about a year ago. This is a real thing. There were articles about it. It even made it onto Libs of TikTok, the most reliable news source there is. So what is the Wheel of Privledge? It's this. This is the only known image of this cryptid. It's been mostly lost to time, no one really talks about it, but it is a training the neckbeard flannel hipster higher-ups forced down the throats of all the whites at Behavior for being so toxic and oppressive. It is a wheel that measures your worth as a person, not based off your personality, interests, skills, no, nothing like that. It's based off of how you were born. That's your worth. This wheel they allegedly force recruits to go through gives you an overall number based on your privilege. Like, for example, if you're fat, which is controllable for the most part, you're less privileged, I guess. Or if you don't speak English, you get more points. You gotta love how gay man and cisgender women are in separate spots, just to make sure you don't get away with the crime of being born as a man. I personally scored a 15 on the scale, which must mean I'm pretty privileged, with the outer rings counting as 3 points, the middle rings counting as 2, and the inner rings counting as 1. Tell me what you scored in the comments below. I will make sure to hire you purely off that and not your talent. And what I'm saying here is mostly true and without much irony. When you have employees take a course like this is what's going to happen. You have employees like the creature dork with such fucking useless jobs. She's a community manager, whatever that does. Like, what does that even mean? Reposting unfunny millennial shit on Twitter all day and talking about pants? That's your job? Cringe warning, by the way.
Who is getting some pants and escaping her shorts and skirt purgatory that she was in for a bit there.
Talina mentioned, yes, pants!
Thank you, Eric. We love pants!
Pants!
Chat, spam pants emotes.
Yeah.
I don't know if those exist. And finally,
I am so fucking sick of looking at Dork during every single one of Behavior's live streams with her double-barreled nose and Robert Rose hair. It's basically Behavior's official mascot at this point because it's fat, black, and female. It just sits there absorbing all the happiness from the room in every live stream while saying the most milquetoast, snooze-inducing verbal diarrhea.
And I asked you all to guess on socials which perk I worked on, and you all got it wrong. It was conviction. Ta-da!
Oh, you mean to say you worked on Conviction? You mean the incredibly busted and abusable perk that hasn't been nerfed for months because it's a Survivor thing and is still actively bailing out shit players? Yeah, how is that not obvious to everyone? What do you do? That's the only thing I've ever heard it talking about that it did for the game. It, and all these diversity hires for that matter, just sit and doom scroll in the office all day and take 15 mental health breaks an hour because they have no hobbies or personality. And they're allowed to get away with this because they're black. I'm not even saying this to be edgy for the most part. This is probably literally one of the major things that's killing the game. When you have a company full of these useless faggots who are too busy saying, woe is me, oppression Olympics. My skin color is 2 shades darker than yours. To actually do anything, why do you think we haven't gotten any significant content for 8 months besides Stranger Things? Why do you think we get nothing but stale, recycled events? What the fuck have they been doing all this time? I'm serious. What was Behavior doing during September, October, November, and December of 2025? We basically got a failed Operation Health Part 3, which could not have taken all their time away. And the occasional live stream where they talk about 90% skins. They don't add gameplay anymore. There's no gameplay changes anymore. The last significant change to base gameplay was breakable walls in 2020. How? This is what a game looks like when there's zero competition and you don't hire people based off talent. There are 1,300 people employed at Behavior right now. What are they doing? How have we gone this long with no changes? It is so depressing to get recycled killers, no balance changes, reskinned events, and meanwhile see other games thrive and innovate their gameplay while we get this. I see a game like Overwatch get a monumental update, adding tons of new content, tons of quality of life, massive gameplay changes, 5 new heroes, all for the better, and we're just stuck with this. We're kept in this infernal hellhole, only to see a ray of hope like the health update, which is what this game desperately needed, only for it to fail 3 times over the course of the year, leading to months of wasted time. Like I said, DBD devs bad is a common statement, but everyone just assumes they're lazy and doesn't really address what the core issue is. I would say, in the most politically correct way I can say it, hiring people based off how they look or their background rather than their talent is not going to lead to a healthy game. As I said before, I'm kind of repeating myself a bit, there are 1,300 people employed at Behavior, and so many of them have the most fucking useless jobs because the white higher-ups can't fire them because that would be oppression. If the Blizzard devs are the frat boys who rape women, the DBD devs are the women who pretend to be raped for attention despite wanting it. They can't do anything right. Like every live stream, there's some new disaster. Like the Pride one having a webcam so bad it was counting in seconds per frame instead of frames per second. I mean, this whole live stream is a fucking disaster. Or how could I resist mentioning the absolute dumpster fire that was the Chandler Niggs Walking Dead incident, where they gave him like a Radio Shack microphone, didn't listen to aughts, and then got DDoSed. It was such a fail, it was known outside of the game, kind of like the unknown transphobic thing was. I cannot go through another Behavior live stream where they made no significant changes for 3 months, only for Dork to sit across from an obese white guy who has to sit cross-legged exactly like this, like everyone else, to avoid manspreading, because that's very offensive in this work environment, and talk about skins. 70% of the content we've gotten for this game over the past year is just skins. They spend 70% of their streams just talking about skins. I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more. This is what no competition looks like. Overwatch was like this for a while. Boom, Marvel Rivals comes out, forcing the devs to try, and now it's in the best state it's ever been in my opinion. Matthew Cote is such a hack. People have tried making successors, but they all fail for their own reasons, and he gets to continue his monopoly from doing absolutely nothing. They are still so out of touch, like the 9.2.0 stream where the devs were trying to figure out why Gideon Meat Plant had the highest slugging rate out of any map. Maybe because it and many other maps have a ridiculous amount of uncounterable god palettes, forcing killers to do this, but I don't know, man. Let's remove Legion from 2v8 and keep Escapist the way it is with an on-demand sprint burst, while adding yellow herbs back to remove hook states with 0 downsides or counterplay. Yes, if the survivor bias isn't obvious, Dork says on its own FAQ that I love playing Survivor mostly, but I do play Killer. Oh, it's one of those. Yeah, I wonder what Killers it and the rest of Behavior slop employees dabble in. I wonder. All 1,300 of them doing absolutely nothing for months and months and making their salary by just being black. It also says, I want to use my position as much as I can to advocate for people of color to be more accurately and easily represented within the media we also present in. Speaking for myself, I feel incredibly seen when I see black and/or pedophile characters in gaming with diverse backgrounds and intricate stories. Yes, because that's worked so well in the gaming industry before, forcing diversity over quality. You know, like Dustborn, Concord, and Dragon Age Veilguard, all woke disasters that bankrupted their companies for brownie points. Dork even got an award for being black or something. Look at this garbage. This is the priorities of the developers. Instead of fixing year-long bugs, seriously, they have tried to fix Dick Slinger for 8 months, and they just said that they did again, but they've tried fixing this 3 times. I don't trust them anymore. How could this be so hard to fix? It's a simple bug. It was the same thing for Nemesis too. But anyways, instead of fixing those bugs, or balancing the game at all, or adding anything exciting, no new modifiers for over a year by the way, just endless recycled events. Instead of untangling the spaghetti code, which is obviously much easier said than done, I'm not a game developer, but this is what you people are paid for. No, we'll just add Richard Rose and get instantaneous applause from the mouth-breathing retards who point at gay thing and clap like seals. This is what they spend all their time doing. Look at some of these streams. Look at these abominations. Do not let them near your children. They don't care. It's just virtue signaling. This Into the Fog stream tried to raise money for the Trevor Project, which is a suicide prevention charity for trans children. Yeah, I think the world's already over. But they failed to even meet their goal. Like, they can't even pander to the mentally ill crowd. How are you guys so bad at everything besides being black? The quality of the stream was so bad, so embarrassing that they turned off comments, and due to all the technical errors of these streams, they've just semi-given up. And the most recent stream was obviously pre-recorded with instantaneous cuts and no input from the audience. Good, I guess. Keep it that way if you monkeys can't even make a stream work. They can't do anything right, they're just black. Why do you think we haven't gotten balance changes for 6 months? It's because all the DEIs see the community uproar from their obviously retarded changes because they are so out of touch. They go cry and take 16 mental health breaks only to get 1 total hour of work done in their 8-hour shift. So why bother trying to balance our game and get backlash when we could just release skins and have all the mentally ill porn-brained stereotype troons on Twitter praise us for putting pixels on a survivor instead of any gameplay? I hope you can look at the bigger picture here. From the Wheel of Privilege to streams like this, it's clear where Behavior's priorities are nowadays. In 2024, Behavior laid off 95 white people, including the guy who made the amazing marketing for the All Things Wicked chapter. In their words, to pursue a clarified vision and unprecedented competition, which I don't even know what they're talking about here, because DBD is the only relevant asymmetrical game on the market. That's why they're able to get away with so much bullshit. And that clarified vision they talked about was swiftly shown to us in the very next original chapter with a killer that looks like this. They have blackwashed everything. Houndmaster was originally a rich Victorian white woman, and Robert Rose was supposed to be her survivor. She even had a whip as her weapon, but it was scrapped for being too offensive even though it's historically accurate. And now we have this random mishmash of broken ideas as a historically inaccurate, buggy, unplayable mess made purely for brownie points, unfixed for over a year. I rest my case. It's just sad to see a game with so much potential stagnate this much. And I was so excited about a year ago when things were really looking up. We have recycled killers and nothing exciting to look forward to. The occasional good chapter doesn't make up for the massive gaps in content that these 1,300 f***its are supposed to be working on. If we don't get competition, we're gonna have to be comfortable with Dork's obese KFC-stained breath breathing down our necks and forcing us to try new skins as more and more players leave the game and it stagnates further and further. 1,300 employees for what? What do they do?